If you have an hour this week, you can learn a.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing that out there today? It's my pleasure welcoming you from wherever it is you're joining from. Just a few more seconds and we will dive into this fully.
DJ. It's DJ.
All right, wherever it is you're joining from, keep me posted. Let me get to see. Are you joining from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? I would like to know. Let's put it in the chat box, and it's gonna be another great moment with every one of you out there today. We have our guests waiting in the background, and I'll be bringing them in as time permits. Today is going to be very, very insightful, very interesting conversation today, and I want to believe every one of you are ready to have this conversation. I've been seeing different comments out there, but today we'll be able to dive deep into this.
What are you waiting for? Fading out on the edge of paradise. Every inch of your skin is a holy grail I've got to find. Only you can set my heart on fire.
All right, I want to see from the comment section, wherever it is you're watching from. In the next few minutes, we should be starting fully into what today's conversation is going to be. I want to believe you are all ready. Where are you watching from? I can see a couple of people in the house. Olato Kumbo Jeremiah, you're welcome. Watching from Facebook. Ogini Ketola Elizabeth, you're welcome. Watching from Facebook. You are all welcome on the platform. Today is all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. Love is a beautiful thing to say, right? And I strongly believe that the word love might not be totally straight to you in any way. A lot of us have experienced love in different ways. Some got their hands burnt. Some, I mean, enjoying, maybe let me say lucky or fortunate for some. And some, I mean, it's just like I have a young lady who will tell me, see, anything marriage, don't even say it in my ears. I don't want to get married, right? I think I'd rather prefer to be a single mom. I've heard something like that from a couple of people. And that is why today we're trying to get our priorities right. We want to know, I mean, as much as we all agree with me that money and happiness, they are both very, 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 very important. I'll tell you that, very, very important. As important as they are, which of these two should you prioritize first? Is it money that you should prioritize first? Is it happiness that you should place first before money? I mean, we're going to have a lot of people share their experience with us today. We're not going to be staying so long, and that's because we're just going to be hitting the point, and in no time, we should be out of here. But I believe that within the shortest time, we should be able to, pick our lessons, everyone learn from this, and we proceed. I mean, to living a better life, to getting the right mindset, to getting the right mentality, to what and what should be prioritized first between love and money. I've seen tons and tons and tons of comments out there. I'll be very, very honest with you. I saw so many things that got me worried, like, oh, really? But guess what? Are they wrong? I'm not going to say they are wrong. Are they right? I would say they are right, because everyone have what? Everyone have the right to their opinion. The way I see life might not be the way you see life. The way you see life might not be the way I see life, right? So we can see life differently. But today we're going to be hearing from people's view. We're going to pick lessons from their view. One of them is the beautiful woman that will be stepping up in the next few minutes. She's going to be joining me on this live, and she will be telling us her own experience about love. Which of this comes first for her? Is it the happiness? Is it the money? She's going to be able to share her experience. But while we're waiting in the next few minutes, if you're just joining, of course, those who are just joining, you're welcome on board. I can see you all in the chat box. You're welcome. Please, wherever it is you're joining from, let me know. Are you watching from Lagos, Nigeria? Are you watching from Dallas, Texas? Are you whatever it is, just let me know in the chat box. Where are you watching from? In the next few seconds, I'm going to be inviting one or two of our guests to be on this live with us. And of course, they'll be able to share their own experience. Every one of us can learn from this, right? Just give us 1 minute or 2 minutes thereabout, and we'll be able to start. Olubosonia, she said, I am watching from Lagos. That's beautiful. It's nice to have you here from Lagos. Yes, and let me know from the chat box, wherever it is you're watching from, and let me just take you through this beautiful love song that says, love me like what? Like you do. Love me as you do. Love me like you do. That is what the song says. And of course, we're going to be able to connect some dots today. But before then, give me 1 minute, 2 minutes. Let's begin to welcome our guests into the house, one after the other, as I play this song. And I'll be back in the next 1 minute to continue.
To the dark, let me take you past the satellite. See what you want tonight.
All right, I want to see where you're watching from.
Every inch of your skin is a holy flame I've got to find. Only you can step when
All right, I have Gabriel, who is watching from Bournemouth. That's in the UK. Thank you so much. While we're waiting for our guests, in the world of love, which one matters most to you? Is it happiness? Is it money? Today, I'm going to tell you my take. Actually, that's the most important part. I will have to tell you my take, right? And people will be able to share their experience as well. 30 seconds to go.
what do you
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the beautiful moment majority of us has been waiting for. I can see a lot of chat in there. Yes, someone watching from Lagos, someone watching from Bournemouth. In the UK, Mr. Gabriel, nice to have you on board. Olani Fresh Kid, watching from Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, all right. And I see Olubosonia saying both of these are very, very important. All right, so let's dive into this conversation. And just while I was thinking through, I posted this on my status trying to know which of these comes first. It would be wrong for us to assume that one is more important than the other. Let's get that right. It would be wrong to assume that possibly money is more important than happiness, or it would be wrong to assume that happiness is more important than money. I would agree with you that both of these are important. There is no two way about it. And that's because for me, I have my take on this subject matter, which I'm going to be sharing with you, but I'm going to be inviting a few people on board. I mean, they're already in the waiting room and we'll be hearing them talk. We'll be hearing them share their experience and everyone will be able to rub their minds together. I have 3 persons I've invited over today. I guess the 4th person might be able to join, hopefully. But if not, I have 3 persons on live today with me who will be talking to us, right? On this Art to Art segment, Art to Art with TJO. This is where we get to rub things together, and it's been watched by a lot of people all across the world. And so today, again, we're going to be having this topical issue surrounding when it comes to the word of love. Which of these is more important to you? Which of these come first? Is it the love? Is it the money or the happiness? Some people say you need happiness, not money. You need happiness much more than the way you need money. Some said, hey, no, money, it comes first because with money, you will have happiness. A whole lot, right? A whole lot have been outgoing there, but I'm going to be inviting 3 different persons who will be sharing their thoughts with us. I'm going to be inviting Ms. Olani, Mr. Koya, and Mrs. Mercy. I'm going to be adding you to the live. Please, wherever you are being added at the moment. And let's see how we can actually scale through on these topical issues. What's our take on this? All right. What exactly is on our mind? I heard somebody who shared a beautiful experience saying, hey, I've been married for 14 years. And this was exactly what happened to me. Blah, 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 blah. Something happened and we got broke up. And now everything didn't go as planned. And it's over 14 years. You know how painful that could be? The one has been in a relationship, in a love life for 14 years, and everything went down the drain. I'm sure that was not the way she planned it. That was not the way he planned it, but something happened. So she is here today to share this experience with us so that every one of us can pick our lessons from this. It is my prayer that everyone will have a beautiful home. It is my joy that I want to see everyone raising a godly family. Everyone is getting it right relationship-wise. But of course, you will agree with me that there is probably no manual to life. There is probably no manual to life. There is no one way to say, hey, this is how you should do it. It's just like trying to raise the kid. No one can give you a manual to raising a kid to say, hey, if you do it this way, this is how it's going to be. If you do it this way, this is how it's going to be. No way. It is only with the help of God that we raise kids. It is through the help of God that we were raised, right? And those who make the decision to go the other way around, of course, we always pray that God will bring them back. But same thing with marriage. ABCs of marriage are out there. A lot of theories. Do this, wear the same clothes, wear this and wear that. It might work for someone. It might not work for the other person. So it gets to a point where we have to be meeting like this, coming together to rub our mind. Ladies and gentlemen, the very first person I want you to hear from, her name is Mercy out there, and she has a lot to share with you. Miss Mercy, if you're there, kindly unmute yourself. How are you doing out there today?
Fine, thank you, sir. First of all, let me say thank God for making it happen for us today. And then I would also want to thank you for bringing me on to this show to shed some light, And I'm going to do my best to shed light in the godly way.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very, very much for that, Mrs. Mercy. And everyone is actually anticipating to hearing from you. This is streaming live now on Facebook, on Instagram, we're live, on LinkedIn, we're live, on YouTube, we're live. Everyone all across is watching and they want to learn from your story. Mr. Gabriel is actually here too to share his own point of view. Mr. Lani Fresh Kid is here, and I think I have a beautiful lady as well by the name Oluwatosin, who is also here as well to share our point of view. Also, just to let us understand how exactly is this for them? How does this work with them? And so on and so forth. These are the things we're going to be doing. And so, Mrs. Mercy, I'm so happy that you deem it fit to let the world know about your story. Because when I heard it, I was really touched. Actually, I was touched, and it becomes very important. So let's start with you, Ms. Mercy, and Mr. Gabriel, Mr. Tosin. Any one of them can, of course, come in at any point to say, "Hey, I think I have an idea. I think I have a suggestion," and so on. And for as many people want to put on their video, feel free to put on your video wherever you are. I mean, if you don't feel like it's okay as well, we totally understand that. Ms. Mercy, money,
Right.
which of these comes first for you? Why will you pick one over the other? And if you're picking one, which one are you picking precisely? Let's get to hear from you in the next 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Already. Okay. So for me, when I saw the topic, to be honest, it's okay to look at it based off one's opinion or based on what one is going through at the moment, But when I look at it, I want just for someone to take a pause. Money will always come. We have legs, we have hands, we can always make money. But for me, I will say happiness. Yeah, like you said, sir, you said there's no manual to life, right? And only with the help of God that we can do and achieve our heights. But it's the same thing. I want to give just an example of what you said. For example, a doctor, it takes so much time, it takes so much money to go to school and to be who they are. But when they get to the operating room, who knows if they will apply what they go to school for? Same way with marriage. When I got married, I was blessed. I received my blessing, and they said, put God in everything. They gave, the African way, they will tell you when the hair is twisted, that's like 2 strands, husband and wife, it can easily unlock. But when you add God, it's a strong strand, right? But you will add God, but is the other person willing to have God in their soul? It's the same way with the doctor goes to the operating room and doesn't do the right thing.
You can add God, but is the other person adding God? I picked that from what you said, and that is very, very striking. So, I mean, if I'm going to be asking you, and a whole lot of people all across the world are watching you right now, Mrs. Mercy, and they want to hear from you. I mean, how do I help myself? I mean, I know myself that I will be able to add God, but how do I get the other person to add God? Or is it that it is possible for me to correct that even before getting married to the person?
It is not possible to change someone who is not willing and teachable. I will tell you, it takes work. Marriage is work. So for money, we made, I don't know if this is the right part for me to tell my story. You will let me know. Just guide me.
Feel free. Let the world hear about it. Feel free.
For me, when I met my husband, we had just finished school. We had just graduated, and we didn't have so much. In fact, I remember my dad feeling so sorry when we had our first son, and he guided him through, helped him to set up a business. We opened another office in Kenya. We had 2 offices in different cities. We had another office in another East African country, added another office in another African country. So we were really booming with business. But all this while I was praying, holding his hand, praying for his journey, praying for his business trip. But he had women in all these places. I'm telling you, this is someone who will always hold my hand, and we will go to church. And we will pray, and he will give tithes, and he will do all the good things, and he will be the volunteer. But it never struck me that in 14 years, things can take a turn, you know? And even when he started being promiscuous, because now he has the money, you see? And then you remember the basics that the Bible says the money is the root of all evil. I'm
The
not
love of
saying
money,
it's
yes.
bad to love money, you know? It's not bad to love money. Money is good. Money is actually the soap that cleans you up. But sometimes we overlook. That's why I said I'm not gonna judge anybody's choice, but it's good to take a pause and think what is best for us. It's just good to give an answer, but it's also good to just take a pause and realize, some people will never change, whether they have money, whether they don't have money. So it's a 50-50 situation. So you just have to keep trusting God and make sure that your decisions are really aligned to what you really want.
Thank you very, very much, Mrs. Mercy, for sharing this in-depth story about yours. Now, from the message you shared, there is something you said that got me striking. You said everything was going fine until money started coming in. And then a whole lot of things started happening. From what you also said right now, you have business in different countries, but you use the word, you said he had women in all of these places. And that brings me to asking this question. I mean, I'm going to be taking from Mr. Gabriel. I'm going to be taking from other people watching in the house as well. If I'm going to be asking, what do you actually think outside of that money? Could there be something responsible for somebody who has been good for the past 14 years to change all of a sudden? I mean, you said something about him holding your hands, going to church. Is it possible for someone who has been that good to all of a sudden change? Or do you think there was more to it? Mrs. Mercy, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know. I have no explanation, because I remember one time he came before we split up and we decided this is not working. You know, he came to me and he said, honestly, I was praying and God showed me how I have been wicked to you. You know, but that means he noticed his actions. But he said, I noticed that I have been doing these things to you and I have been so wicked and very unfair. But that didn't stop him. He went ahead and did everything. By the time we were leaving, I didn't even know that he had planned a Valentine's vacation trip to 3 different countries with another woman that we met here in the US. And when I received a call from the police, he had actually left our 6-month-old baby at the police station because he could not reach me on the phone and he had to not to miss his flight. So he had to go. And that is when really I had to close that door. And then I noticed and sat down, had a meeting with myself. And then one idea just struck my mind when I was in the mood of prayer, that even in a relationship, you might have the money, you might have the happiness, but if 2 people are not at the same level in life, if you're not desiring to be at that particular level, you cannot go together. You cannot match. You have to have the same desires. You don't have to be compatible to have the same desires in life. But if you're not at the same level in life, honestly, you're not going anywhere.
So invariably with that statement, will you say it might be pretty difficult for maybe someone who came from the slum to get married to a very, very rich person and there won't be issues, right? There might probably be issues along the line.
There will be. They might not show it, they might not know it, but deep down, there is someone who is hurting.
So you're gonna advise maybe someone like me who came from the slum to say, hey, it's better you just marry someone from the slum and both of you build it together. Then you're looking for somebody who is rich, and at the end of the day, you begin to tell you, I brought you from the slum. Is that what you're saying right now?
No, actually, no. That's why I said it's not a one size fits all. It depends on the character. I have a friend who actually picked a lady from the street that was giving birth on the street. And he was single and his mom always pushed him to marry because he was already rich. And he helped this woman without thinking it was going to be his wife. And they ended up together. And they're still married and up to this date.
Very good.
You know? So it doesn't, it's just that they might have been at the same level. For him, he wasn't looking for a wife, but the mom's pressure. You know, even when the lady gave birth and his colleagues at work told him, oh, wow, you didn't tell us that your wife is pregnant. The colleagues at work brought him baby gifts, you know, and it's so hard for him to explain, this is not my child. Even when he was getting the baby from the hospital, he signed, but so they keep calling him dad, and he was not dad. But his situation, this lady had been chased home because she had a child from wedlock. And so she was looking for love. She was looking for acceptance with the baby. So they were at the same level. You see? The other one is being pushed to marry, and this other one is looking for acceptance, for love, someone to take care of the baby. So they were at the same level. Wow. So sometimes you get married, and I want to do my PhD. I don't want to go to school. I'm done with school. And these things that we take lightly can really split marriages. It doesn't matter which background you come from, rich, you come from poor. If you're not aligned, you can marry someone who is super rich. You can marry someone who is super poor, but you have the same goals that bring you together. You have something that brings you together. That marriage is going to work. But if everybody is diverted in their needs and desires, it's not going to work, even with God.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Mercy. I'm not going to take so much of your time because a whole lot of people are listening to you. And, you know, I'll be very honest with you that some people might feel like, can marriage actually work? Is it possible for marriage to work actually, right? Some people are scared of divorce. Like hearing your story to say, hey, after 14 years, I was faced with this. It's not even like a fear factor to people out there. You as a person, before I let you go, what advice do you have for anyone out there when it comes to marriage, selecting, choosing? I mean, right now you've publicly disclosed it that you would rather pick happiness over money. But what advice do you have for someone out there who might be nursing that fear of, I mean, we can read, we can see everything. I'd rather be a single mother than just getting myself engaged. What advice do you have for the person not to be afraid of marriage not working?
You know, have faith. Have faith in God. The right person comes at the right. God has someone for everyone. You just have to know who matches your energy. That's the best advice I can give you. Number one, put God first. He's going to show you the way. Your husband, you will know it. Your wife, you will know it.
Your wife, you would know it. Your husband, yes, you will know it. Mrs. Mercy, that is a beautiful one from you. I mean, I have all my jottings right here from the beautiful story you've heard. Mr. Koya Gabriel, let's get to know from what Mrs. Mercy has said. Do you have any addition to this? Or probably I would ask you, Mr. Koya Gabriel, we all agree that money and happiness are two important things and it is always needed. But which of these two comes first for you, Mr. Gabriel? Let's get to hear your point of view. I'll take from Mr. Olani. We still have Mrs. Mercy here with us.
Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. For me, you know, one thing is constant. Let's look at it from when we were growing up. Even when we did not understand what, you know, money was or how you get money, one thing that you always looked for, you know, one thing that you wanted by all means was happiness. You wanted to go out in the rain and play. You just wanted to be free and happy. And I say to you, being an adult does not take away that fact. You still want that happiness, you know. So I would say to you, yes, money is extremely, extremely important in every relationship. Okay, because when you look at, you know, the things that money can satisfy for you, you want to look at them, you know, security to a very large extent. Money can provide a sense of security. It covers your basic need. It covers housing, food, healthcare, both for yourself and for your spouse. You know, it creates all those things in you. It gives you material comfort, you know. But on the other hand, when you look at happiness, happiness is not something you can easily buy with money. Yes, there's actually this part of happiness you can buy with money, because then when you're looking at having your material comfort, because looking at it seriously, when you have the food, when you have good health care, when you have housing, to a very large extent, you know, it makes you feel at peace to an extent, and that sometimes can give you a dose of happiness. However, happiness in itself is not what you can buy with money. You know, happiness is closely tied to emotional well-being. It involves, you know, feelings, contentment, sense of fulfillment, you know, that comes from experience with the person you're with. You know, if you're with your husband, your wife, and all those things are not present, no matter how much you have, if you don't feel that contentment with this person, you know, it's possible you know, your spouse is rich, but you as the wife or the husband, for example, you are not contented with this person. You don't feel happy with this person. You don't see this person as your friend. You always want to go looking for that friend. You always want to go looking for that person that would make you happy. So I would say for free, sir, personally, happiness will come first. But I'm not saying that to discountenance the place of, you know, money. Money, yes, too much of, if you search for it too much, you know, the Bible records that is the root of all evil. However, the same Bible records that money is, you know, is an answer to a lot of prayers. Money answers a lot of things. You understand? So we should always try to find the balance, you know, between two things, between these two, you know, important aspects of life. While money can contribute to aspect of happiness, you know, providing, like what I mentioned earlier, basic need, offering opportunity for enjoyment, it is not, you know, a guarantee, or it's not a guaranteed path to happiness. Many people find that, you know, the pursuit of money alone does not even lead to lasting contentment. True happiness, please underline the word true. It involves a combination of factors, you know, including meaningful relationship, personal growth, a sense of purpose, you know, like the woman mentioned earlier, is when you feel that you and this person, you have the same goal. You and this person, you have something you're chasing together, which you have things in common. You are always happy together. You know, it's essential. It's just important to strike the balance. I recognize that why money is important. It is not a substitute, and it's not going to be a substitute for emotional and psychological aspect, you know, that contributes to a fulfilling and happy life.
No.
It's just important for every marriage or every relationship to be able to decipher, you know, which works for them. But personally, happiness is always on the list. Is the number one on the list. Then followed by money. Again, if you're happy with your partner, to go back to the Holy Book, it says, "He who finds a wife has found a good thing and obtain favor." Underline the favor. If you have a partner and you're not happy with your partner, there is no happiness in your home. To a very large extent, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it happens. It's beyond my knowledge. But you realize that a lot of things wouldn't work. But when there is happiness, when the husband is happy to pray for the wife, when the wife is happy to pray with the husband, even things you never knew, now using a personal experience, even things you never knew could happen, things you know you can never plan for in the next 5-10 years, they come in a year, because there is that favor aspect of it, and it comes from when you are both happy with each other. So happiness is the bottom line here. It can produce a lot of money as much as you want. So that's it from me.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Gabriel. I mean, you already said something about both parties synergizing and, of course, being in the same unity of mind and spirit. But I have a question that I'm going to be throwing first to Mrs. Mercy, and I also want you to contribute to that. Then I'll take it to Mr. Fresh Key. Mrs. Mercy.
Yes, sir.
Saying that money brings out the true nature of a man. That when a man doesn't have money, You might actually not understand his true nature until he has money. That is when you get to know his actual intention and his true nature. And I see somebody saying something similar in the chat group. This chat is coming in from Facebook. Well, Mrs. Messi, do you agree with that? That money actually brings out the true nature of a man. Until a man has money, you can't really tell his true attitude. Is that true for you?
Based on experience, I would say it's 1,000% true.
How many percent?
1,000% true.
Not even 100.
Not even 100.
1,000% true that money actually brings in the true identity of the man. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Gabriel, do you agree to that? Then I'll take to Mr. Fresh Kid.
Yes, to an extent, I agree. But again, it's important to understand that when someone have money, yes, it brings out, that part of them, that real person in them. But again, we should understand that if you're a good person, okay, I mean, you can't be good in the beginning, and because you have money, you become bad all of a sudden. If you don't have money, you can be fair, you can be a good person. You can still, with the little you have, you can still try to help people. But then when you have, I can say this of a truth, you become a better person. If you're a bad person and you're just hiding under the disguise of whatever it is, by the time you have money, you become a worse person. So to say this literally, money just brings out, maybe the worst or the best in you. That's just an extension of it. But whatever you are, money just amplifies it for you. It makes it bigger than you can handle. That's just what it is. So yes, it reflects the man, the true man in you. So I think I'll still go with Mrs. Mercy. It reflects the true man, but it amplifies, the good in you or the bad in you.
It reflects. Now I'm getting some things, but Miss Mercy said you want to contribute something. Before I take your contribution, Mrs. Mercy, Mr. Olani, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening. I'm here.
It's nice to have you on board, Mr. Olani. And finally, it's good to have name Fresh Kid. I don't know why your video is not on today. Maybe sometime I'm gonna see that freshness in you anyways. Mr. Olani, this has been something very topical, and I think I saw one of your comments on the Facebook page from the Facebook now. I think, yeah, I saw your comment on Facebook. Happiness and joy, or probably when we try to compare this having money and chasing happiness, when it comes to the love word, which of it comes first for you?
Well, honestly speaking, before I actually answer your question, I will have to to say this directly to Miss. I don't know if she's Mrs. or Miss Messi now. Like, your story is one that is quite should I say, it's quite inspiring. At the same time, it's sad in the sense that you actually have to go through such. And I really pray that you find healing, you find peace, you find all the happiness you deserve in this life, because no woman deserves to go through such. I mean, this is someone you actually believed you have a future with, you plan a future with, and all of a sudden things actually happen the way they did. So back to the question you asked. For me, like I said earlier on, ever since you dropped this question since last week, it's just been pondering in my mind. And for me, I believe in a relationship or in a love life, money should be prioritized over happiness. I know a lot of people actually put a gun to my head for saying this, but it's just what it is. Now, if you take a look at what is actually happening in our society, I actually have this pragmatic perspective on prioritizing your financial stability over emotional happiness in a relationship. And this is not actually to downplay the roles of emotions. Emotions actually play a significant role in a relationship. Now, the first thing is financial security. Money just gives you this confidence. It provides a kind of a foundation for a secure future, ensuring that there's stability in our essential needs. And then prioritizing finances can actually contribute to a more predictable and comfortable life. Now, you know that this person you're in a relationship with, their finances, okay, this is how much my spouse earns. We're able to plan your financial life. And if you look deeply into many of our broken homes or many of our broken relationships, finance actually takes about 80 to 85% of what leads to breaking up. So let's talking about other factors such as infidelity, but finance actually plays a major role. You find out probably when you find out that the man is not financially stable, you tend to look at it in such a way that, can this man really handle my future? Can this man actually takes responsibility of our family, take care of the family, and marriage is more of a responsibilities because for as a married man, you have to think of your family first. That's the first thing. If you ask many married men at the family, before a man will even think of himself, he thinks of his family first. So finance actually plays a huge role. Finance is even like I don't even know if it's right to say finance is actually it's actually what makes a happy home. It's actually what makes a happy marriage. I have to be honest with you. Because as a man, you're thinking about the house rent, you're thinking about your children's school fees, you're thinking about, you're thinking about a lot of things on your head. And then how will someone who is probably unemployed, who is actually down on on his finances, how will he be happy in the marriage? So finance actually plays a crucial role. I think it's this conversation will not even last us like if the hour at the time we have will not even last. This is something I can actually extend that we have to create the kind of series for this where you have to bring in different people to share their opinion, because it's not something you can just round up in 2-3 hours and say, okay, we're done talking about this. I just pray this continues like this. We have to bring on other people to hear their views on this, because it's not something. This is actually what is actually affecting many families, affecting many homes, and no one is talking about it. Like I said earlier on, so finance is actually it's actually it's very deep. It's deeper than what we can just say here. It's just it. So financial stability actually allows for long-term planning, including investments. You can actually make it's even opens you up to a lot of opportunities. Talking about educational opportunities, you can actually go for get your educational degrees, with stable finances. And another thing that I see that actually that tends to make people feel unhappy in a relationship is the fact that men we're actually unsecured, in the sense that we actually hate. I don't want to use the word hate. I think men actually feel this kind of insecurity when they actually see their woman succeeding or doing better more than themselves. So I think that was one of the questions I wanted to ask Miss Mercy, please. I don't intend to sound rude, but I probably felt your ex was actually feeling probably you're actually doing better than him. So you felt like you wanted to settle with someone you can actually control, someone that you can actually that can actually be submissive. I don't know if that's the right word to use. So I felt that was one of the reasons probably you're doing better than him financially speaking. I'm still taking the pen down to finances, because I believe people talk about you can always be happy in your relationship. Nobody stays in a relationship that is not financially healthy. Nobody. The human might be. Yeah, this is something I've seen. This is okay. Let me just bust the bubble. This is what has actually happened to me personally. Now let me just give you a short story. Something happened. Sorry, please. I don't want to take your time because I know there are other speakers coming up to share their. So there's this lady we've actually been seeing for months now. Things were rosy, life was working, everything was going on, and then we're into this about close to 3 years, about 2 months and 11 2 years and 11 months. Yeah, that's close to 3 years. So something happened along the line. My work at that point, my boss actually had he got himself into some kind of financial mess, which really affected the organization I was working with at that time. Now, this has nothing to do with me. I did my job to the best of my ability, but my boss, who happens to be the CEO of the company I was working with at that particular time, got himself in some kind of financial mess that actually had dealt him a very heavy blow, even on his marriage, on his finances. So he had to call all of us together. Okay, this is what is actually on ground now. What he's going to advise us is that anyone who wants to leave, the company will pay you whatever they are owing you, but the job is going to stop. But if you want to continue with the job, man, it cannot guarantee if things will actually fall into place. But so at that point, I was actually I was still on the job while I was actually scouting for
Mr. Lani, are you there? Oh, I think we lost Mr.
another job. Definitely the money was not coming in a lot of things, struggling with a lot of things. The money was not coming in the way it used to come in, a lot of. So I had to explain to my woman, okay, so babe, this is actually happening. At first, and she was actually bearing with me for the first let's say for the first 5 months. Now she was just enduring and enduring. Then the moment she couldn't, she was like, boy, I'm sorry. If this is the way things will go on, I can't and I can't continue. But she didn't say that to me directly. Now, guess what this lady did? Now she just actually send me text on WhatsApp. I won't forget it. She just send me text on WhatsApp telling me how she and her mom went to a pastor, all of this and that. And the pastor said, we are not spiritually
compatible. You are not compatible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tata. God bless you, Mr. Tolu. Thank you very much. You know what I was going to say. You knew what I was going to say. That the pastor said we are not compatible. So I was not deep down in my mind, I was not where was this pastor? As in, where were these prophecies when things were going on very well? when like I'll come to your place, I'll like your mom will call me, oh my son, your daddy will call me, this gentleman is such a great man. You know, your parents actually see a lot of potentials in me. Like they said that I'm the perfect in-law for them, that they've never even when we're not even married, then we're not even like we're just planning on, you know. So all these things I'm trying to put together is just to tell you that money, finance is the backbone of any relationship. Before any and I'm putting this out to people who are probably in a relationship now, or people who are dating or planning to get married. I think I think I can actually I'm in position to actually advise them. As a man, if you know that you're not financially stable or you don't have anything sustainable doing, don't even think of like getting a woman to the point of you talking about marriage. If you know you don't have anything solid, you're working on anything you're banking on financially, don't even go there, because the emotional stress that will come with it, your mental is just like you just the mental is just it's being in the shambles. Don't even dare it. No matter how they like, how we manage. Don't worry. Now they tell you that you manage. And that, brother, that lie. Now, don't even
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Lani, for this beautiful
very
contribution from you. This man is saying, see, nobody can tell me otherwise. If I don't have money, I'm not getting married.
I tell you, honestly speaking.
The last one I had showed me Egypt. So this time around, if I don't have the money, I'm not gonna get married. Maybe there are so many men out there in your situation. Maybe there are so many men who are also thinking in that direction. Everyone watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, if you have questions, please, you can put them in the chat box. We can always take questions, right, from everyone. And of course, these great people here, we surely respond to them before they leave. But Mr. Koya Gabriel, this is what Mr. Laniya said. He said to him, it's not just about happiness. To him, it's not just about, hey, I want to be happy first in my relationship. He agrees that happiness and money are two important things. But Mr. Lani is of the point that, hey, I do not care, right? For me, no matter how you preach this, I want to have that money before any other thing else. I believe happiness is going to come because of what I've experienced. Let me take from the women's perspective right now. And those watching from home, whatever it is you're watching from, do you also agree that maybe a man should make money to some certain extent before he gets married? I mean, there are a lot of people out there with that same ideology. Could Mr. Olaniyi be completely wrong to say that, hey, he wants to have money because the last one he had, all of a sudden they came up with a story that a pastor said we are not compatible. And that thing is still hurting him because I could feel it from his voice. I felt the pain from his voice, right? Maybe you're not the only one who have heard such story, but don't let us go into that chapter. Mr. Koya, what's your take, Mr. Koya?
Let me quickly say this. Mr. Olani, everything you've said, 100, you're perfectly correct. As a man, you don't have a business in marriage if you are not stable. As a man, you don't have a business saying you want to get married. If you get married, who will pay your house rent? Who will feed your family? But again, let's look at it from this angle. We pray no evil happens to anyone. But let's say you're making ₦1 million per month, and then you jump into marriage, you're happy. After like 3 years, you lose your job, no jobs coming in. Then you end up to become, non-stable financially. What then keeps the marriage? Eventually, what we're running. See, one thing I've noticed about marriage, I've been married to the glory of God, and one thing I've noticed about marriage is there will always be ups and there will always be downs. There will be some times that you are going to be very, very financially, stable. You have money to do whatever you want. And there are times that, things are not happening the way you expect. In fact, there are even times, sometimes that you have a lot of money, but because you're doing a particular project, you can become lean financially. And that might take you another 1 or 2 years. What holds, that relationship or that marriage at that point in time? I would say again, if you don't have stability financially as a man, don't go into marriage. However, keep it at the back of your mind that when you are inside the marriage, anything can happen. You can lose your job, you can lose contracts, your wife can lose her job, she can lose contracts. The truth is, if you don't have a solid foundation in that marriage, if there is no happiness, if there's no form of understanding, your wife understanding that, okay, this is who my husband is, yes, we have these issues right now. Okay, I think I need to support my wife in this area, or I think they need to support my husband in this area. If all these things are not put in place, I think they say this thing. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but they say if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
That's right.
If you guys don't have a definitive, understanding of what you're going into, if you don't understand that, see, things is rosy now, things are rosy, we can buy motor if you want. But in the next future, anything can happen. Will you be there to support me? If, to a very large extent, if you look at whoever you're dating, I mean, in the first 6 months to 1 year, you can actually say that this person, I don't see this person in my life in the next 5 years because of some things you've seen. And you can as well say that this person, I see this person as, she can still be the mother of my children. Yes, we are all imperfect. We can make mistakes. But it does not take away the fact that if there is no solid, harmony, if there is no happiness, if you guys cannot find your happiness outside of money, then there is problem in the marriage. Because money will not always be available. Truth.
If you cannot find your
I'd like
happiness
to add.
outside of money, both of you are not safe. That's from Mr. Koya Gabriel. Mrs. Messi, real quick, what add to that? I mean, please add to that. I want to hear from you.
Let me just say you picked the best people to give comments because they both speak from a very original point. They are both very authentic. I would just like to give from maybe not even from a female perspective, but I think life has changed. Let me take you back to the book of Job when everything was taken away from him and then God returned everything back to him.
That's right.
There is a reason Bible has a way of teaching us life lessons before even we step on this earth. I have a friend whose husband is always cheating. The last time she was bought a Mercedes, but she's not happy. So sometimes this is how I feel. If both of you can do away with happiness and if both of you can do away with money, can you still be there for each other? If there is no happiness, and let's say because when we adult, we lose our loved ones. So there's not going to be happiness. Will you still be there for each other? As life becomes expensive and you lose money, will you still be there? So even when we have happiness and money, we will still be there glued to each other. So for me, I just want to cap it up and say, it goes back. Look at our parents, for example. Did we have so much money? Did our dads have so much money? Maybe I'm speaking from a point where, a general point where our parents have lived together, had so many children, had so much responsibilities, but they came back to the value of togetherness, the value of marriage. So sometimes you may chase the happiness, and when you're not happy, the marriage is dissolved. Or you chase the money, and when it's not there, then there is no marriage. But if you go inside marriage, like we went into marriage, we were always there for each other. We had each other's back, If you go, and that's how we have been able to live for 14 years. But money has no power to change anyone. Like one of us said, money just gives you more opportunities, right? So it depends with the person that you are. If you are really, really bad, then money makes you so bad. If you're really, really generous, money makes you more generous. So it is within ourselves. You go into marriage, what are you looking for? Some men would go into marriage because they found someone to clean their clothes. They have someone to cook for them, So what are you really going into this marriage for? Are you going into the marriage because there's money, and then after the marriage, he loses his job? Then what? And this thing of saying that the husband is the main thing, sometimes not. Even Michelle Obama herself, she said, sometimes you have to give 80%, sometimes you have to give 10%. So you have to go inside marriage knowing we are together in this.
Mrs. Mercy, I mean, right now, there's nothing else I can give to you than a standing ovation, or that I won't be able to stand up where I am right now. But of course, it's looking more to me like we can't actually exhaust this conversation. You know why?
Right.
I mean, there is something that I'm seeing. We can't exhaust it all today. Somebody said something in the chat box, whether marriage or not. a man should have some sort of financial stability for any form of relationship. That is coming from someone. And he will ask that, should it be only the men that should have that financial stability before coming into marriage? Or the women as well have some part to play to be financially stable before they come into marriage? Because at some point in time as well, when you look at this monetary issue, generally from the holistic point of view, you get to understand that money plays a vital role. At the same time, who you are dealing with goes a long way. That is it.
Right.
The person you are dealing with goes a very long way. Either money is going to determine it, or either happiness is going to sustain you. You just said something about someone who just whose husband will cheat, and he will come around and buy you Benz. And that is she will be crying in her Benz, right? But she has a Benz. There is money to buy the Benz, but she's
because
not happy.
He knows she loves money. You see.
So I doubt if we can finish this today, but because of our time, I always want it to be 1 hour show. I don't want it to always exceed 1 hour, right? Let me wrap it up by asking you. This is going to be your closing remark. I'll take it to Mr. Gabriel to do his closing remark, Mr. Olani to do his closing remark. Maybe I'm going to have to think through again and make sure we bring another episode on this money and happiness. And maybe by then I can still invite you all over again and invite more other people to also contribute to this. And I'm sure people will be, of course, contributing in the chat box as well. But sometimes money and happiness might not happen at the same time. In fact, let me say most of the time, money and happiness don't happen at the same time. When you start in a relationship, you realize that both of you are starting from scratch. You are building from scratch. There is no money. I think that is the kind of story you also shared, Mrs. Messi, that both of you started from the scratch, building from scratch, and there wasn't money until the money came. And in some relationship, the money was there from the onset. But what about the happiness? It wasn't there. So in a situation where the two equations were in balance from the start, Mrs. Mercy, you have said it earlier that you would rather go with happiness. If money is not readily available at that time, you will go for happiness. Instead of waiting for the money to balance it up, you will go for happiness. But Mrs. Mercy, there are a lot of people out there listening to you. What would be that closing remark you're giving to everyone listening to you out there? When it comes to this relationship, love world is very, very diverse. The moment I put it on my status, a lot of people have been bombarding with messages, comments, and so on. This morning, someone still came around. This issue of divorce, it's something else. After 14 years and so on, that story was very painful. I'll be very honest with you. And I'm praying for you today that God is going to restore back to you everything you've ever lost. God is going to restore back to you. But I want you to live in this way. To everyone listening, both the married are listening, the singles are also listening. What is that parting word you have for them as regarding this subject of discussion?
Treat your husband the same way you want to be treated. Treat your wife the same way you want to be treated. That is my parting shot, because money will expose you to people who will easily change your character if you're not strong enough. Money will expose you to the world. Money will expose you to people who might change you, or money will expose you to people who will increase you. So treat each other the way you want to be treated.
Treat your husband the way you want to be treated as a woman. Treat your woman the way you want to be treated as a man. Thank you very much, Mrs. Messi. That is a very beautiful closing remark right there. Mr. Olani, let me take it to you, then I'll finally wrap it up with Mr. Gabriel. I know Mr. Olani is right there, and no matter what we say today, Mr. Olani is like, see, if I don't have that money, I'm not doing this thing called love or marriage. I'm not interested. I need to have money because the last one has showed me shaggy, right? But Mr. Olani, trust me, I believe you're picking a couple of lessons right here. I believe everyone is learning from each other. You're learning from every other person's story. We are also learning from your own story. But if you have a parting word to anyone listening to you out there, what will it be, Mr. Olani?
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, sir. And before I actually give my comment, I would love to say a big kudos to Mr. Gabriels and Miss Messi. They really did a good one to this conversation. And I believe from Ms. Everyone actually spoke out of experience. Nobody actually spoke out of probably what they've read somewhere, and that is one thing I'm actually happy about. But the truth is, based on the experiences they've given, the thing is that God should just lead every one of us, because everything still falls back to God. Because like from what I've actually picked from what Mrs. Messi said, that you can actually have all the money in the world like at the beginning of a relationship, and then everything just go out all of a sudden, and then you're back to square one. How do you move along? So what I actually say is that for every one of us, like let's just take the leading of God, because God cannot disappoint us. No matter how, when you're going out with someone, there will always be pointers that this person will like is actually like is truly yours, is meant to be yours forever. And at the same time, we have to be very, very careful, because people can pretend. Like I never believed this man was going to do this to me, because this was someone that we felt like we actually found ourselves, and then like nothing's going to separate us, not even money, not even whatever people say, and then all of a sudden, well, the thing is, she's actually married now. I'm happy for her. Like we still talk once in a while on Facebook, and then whenever like we actually find each other online and stuff like that. So the truth is, let's let God just lead us. We need people like they are more like committed to God, because God cannot lie, and God cannot disappoint. And above all, God will shame us. You understand? So like whatever we do, let's just bring us to give us fulfilling careers, so that we'll be financially stable, so, like in our relationship, and now we can actually make our loved ones happy. And as a woman too as well, this doesn't just go to the man alone. So this is not going to the man alone, because we live in a society whereas in a relationship people always expect the man to be more financially stabilized than the woman to be in a more financially stable. Of course, it's not true. The woman can always be there. It should be like the two of us should just making the same efforts to ensure that our marriage is successful. Not just the man going out grinding all day, just out there, just ensure no, his financial, the family is actually financially functioning well. So it should be like a kind of mutual something for the both of us. And then again, like I said earlier on, God will lead us, God will guide us. The guiding of God is very, very important. It will help us like find our perfect order, and things will be right for every one of us.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Olani. I would say this before you leave, Mr. Olani. The story you narrated here today, honestly, psychologically, I know that you are still hurt and you feel bad about it. You feel pain about it. Despite the fact that she's married, you've moved on. You've moved on with your life. You're doing your thing right now. But that memory is not leaving you. That for real. Why will you tell me? But guess what?
Exactly.
Let me tell you this. I want you to heal from it and move. Don't look back again. For someone like her now, she's married and she's settled. Before you know it, you will hear she has twins. Before you know it, she will have triplets. And you are still feeling like, hey, guess what? Let me tell you today, God is a God of mercy. Just when you are in Lagos State and you're praying, God, show me my partner, God is going to find someone for you within that location you are. Do you believe me?
Amen. I pray. So, amen.
Just like tomorrow morning, you eat this particular visa lottery, because I saw your comments on one of my posts when I was asking, is it your dream job or visa lottery? I know you picked visa lottery. I saw your comment, right? So that visa lottery came in and you relocated to, let's say, Canada, and there wasn't any means, or probably maybe the whole relationship you have went down there, and you start telling God, show me my partner. In that same Canada you are, God is going to give you another person, all right? That is the way God works for you. And I'm being honest with you right now. Your life is not tied to one person. That is the message I'm trying to pass. Your life is not tied to one person. So fall forward, move forward from there. And actually, the message she came to tell you, one pastor said we are not compatible. She might be true. That might just be truth, and it might not be too. But irrespective, let's not look for either it is true, either it is not true. Your life is not tied to one person, right? There will always be issues between two persons. Something happened. And if you go back to God, God has a way of making things work for you again. So, Mr. Olani, thank you for coming around, and thank you for bringing the God aspect into this. I really enjoy your conversation and your contribution. Mr. Gabriel, we're wrapping up finally. Let's get to hear from you as we wrap up the show today. Okay, I see. So, okay, Mr. Gabriel.
I'm going to wrap up by giving us this quote. I think it's by Lao Tzu. He said, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. The path to life is simple, either happiness or money. Know yourself. Then know whoever you're dealing with. Understand them. What makes them happy? What makes them tick? If whatever makes them happy is not something that can work for you, my brother, my sister, find your square root. Know what makes this other person tick. There are a lot of people that, what makes them happy is the limousine or the Benz or the Lexus or the G-Wagon. And as a man, you don't even have that, and you are not even dreaming of it in the next 20 years. And you want to keep this person, you are putting yourself in trouble. Knowing others is intelligence. knowing yourself is true wisdom. That's my parting word.
The philosopher himself, philosopher Mr. Gabriel. Thank you very, very much for coming around to share your point of view. Yes, everyone has spoken their mind, and you see, it still does not change the fact that it boils down to how you see things for yourself. I mean, and that's the honest truth. With everything said here today, some people still know, I mean, they have what they have in their mind, like, well, you're all saying your own and so on and so forth. But I pray we will not learn the hard way. That's my prayer for everyone, because nobody prays to have started something, invest so much of energy, time, and money into it, and the thing went down the drain. Even if it's business, you're going to feel it. How much more something that has to do with your heart, right? It's something that will really, really, if not careful, destabilize the person for the rest of his or her life, right? But I pray that to everyone who is going through one thing or the other out there, love life, love relationship, when it comes to love, whatever pain you're going through, I pray you find solace. I pray you find joy. I pray you find peace. One of our speakers is just trying to join, but I doubt if I can bring her in again. Time is far spent already, and I'm not sure I'll be able to bring her on board again. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasant time with every one of you out there. And please don't forget to click on the share button. If you're watching this and you've been impacted, click on the share button. Let everybody out there benefit from this. Next week is not going to be heart-to-heart conversation. Next week, we're going to be bringing back our quiz game, quiz with the TGO. So for everyone of you want to participate in the quiz, don't worry. Questions are waiting. Just go into the email address and, of course, indicate that you are willing to be part of the quiz. We're going to be coming again next week to our quiz, and get ready for what lies ahead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all peace. I wish you all joy. I wish you all safety in your marriage. Mrs. Mercy, this is my way of saying a very big thank you for coming around to share your story. 14 years of marriage, and you are still confident to say, hey, this is what I went through. Please, everyone out there, don't go through that route and so on. Be very mindful of what you're picking. I'm picking happiness. Mrs. Mercy, that means a lot to every one of us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Mr. Lani, thank you for sharing your story with us as well. It's more of a personal life, and you choose to share it with the world just for everybody to hear, that you don't allow some word of my pastor said, my mommy said, my daddy said. You need to have a mind of your own to know what you want and go for it. And you trust God to back you up, because even when things happen, your pastor can only do little by advising you. So you still have to take everything back to God and be very sure that it is God that is leading you. Once you show it's God that is leading both of you, I believe you're good to go. Mr. Gabriel, the philosopher, thank you for the great quote that you've given to us today. It will go a long way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's nice having you all. I'm going to be seeing you all again next week when we come around with the quiz. And in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be revisiting heart-to-heart conversation with TJO. I will let you know of the topic. There are so many things to talk about in life. I mean, dealing with in-laws, how do we get to deal with in-laws as married people? Okay, dealing with infidelity. How do you have to deal with infidelity? You heard the story of Mrs. Mercy. The husband is cheating, but anytime he cheats, he buys BMW. Isn't that so funny? So there are so many things to talk about in this segment, and we will always come around and we always let you know the topic. For as many of you who always love to be in this live show, feel free to send an email to toluoginimedia@gmail.com. Tolu Ogini Media, TOLUMEDIA. Tolu Ogini, OGINNI, media@gmail.com. I'm going to still put it on Facebook and every other platform. Thank you all for watching, and I believe this has touched your life in one way or the other. If you're in the chat box, whatever it is you're watching from LinkedIn, YouTube, please send a prayer to all our facilitators and all our listeners today. Thank you all so much for joining, and have a beautiful week and weekend out there.